Hello, I am Michael S Garner, creator of an original online comic book called Visions of the New, which you can find at visionsofthenew.com. You can download a PDF version of it or read it online, whatever way you like. You can even get it on Kindle, if you actually still have a Kindle, but it's on there. Today I just wanted to address something. I never got to actually talk about the whole Wonder Woman controversy with her sexuality, which it has been talked about many times before, basically in the comic book community. So most people in the comic book community already knew this. It wasn't really big new news. It's just kind of like a taboo thing. You didn't really like completely go at it head on. So what I would like to bring up is a situation that happened in the comic books where they actually approached it directly. And it was in a comic book called Justice League Task Force back in the 90s. It wasn't a wildly popular comic book, but I'm a big DC comic boy and I basically read everything off the shelf when I was younger. The basic plot for this was that the government found out that there was another island like Wonder Woman's where there were warrior women who were populated it. From what I recall, I believe there was a satellite or something that crashed on the island and they had to retrieve it. So they wanted to send a special team that could negotiate its release. They put together a female Justice League Task Force team comprised of Vixen, Dolphin, Maxima, Wonder Woman, and Gypsy, and to be led by Martian Manhunter. But Martian Manhunter isn't a woman, so what did he do? He changed his gender. He became a pretty kick-ass version of himself. Move over, Miss Martian. After a short battle with the warrior women of the island, the leader agreed to negotiations, but became smitten with a female version of Martian Manhunter. This part I'll address a little bit later. As Martian Manhunter was getting better acquainted with the female leader, the other members of the team began to talk about the situation. Now, keep in mind that this is back in the 90s, so the whole thing is pretty controversial pretty much at this point. The team was basically appalled at the fact that the race of women would have sex with each other and even marry each other. Then one of the team members began to wonder about the elephant in the room and asked Wonder Woman what she did all those years when she was alone on the island with only women. Wonder Woman just took a sip of her drink and then said, "You have to do what you have to do." This shocked them, but they kind of laughed it off. At first, when you read the story, you think that they basically brushed it under the rug after saying that. They got there, but they didn't go there completely. But then Martian Manhunter had to go through with the marriage with the Queen, at the end forcibly being kissed by her, like he was basically the submissive one in the relationship. And then even he had to consummate on a sacred mountain with her. It's just the funniest thing because this shouldn't have bothered Martian Manhunter. This shouldn't have bothered Martian Manhunter too much because basically he's still a man, but he's just disguised as a woman, and she's a woman, and he's straight. But when the Queen disrobed and revealed that she actually had a penis to him, that's when he couldn't take it anymore, and he basically changed back into the regular Manhunter. At the time, I thought it was such a good story because we'd never seen something like that before, and but it was so long ago. It was when I was a kid. And but it was one of those stories that I always remembered when anybody ever addressed Wonder Woman's sexuality, whenever anybody just brought it up at all. I was like, oh, I remember this story from Task Force X, and I read all those books anyway because I love them, and I love the artists on them, for at least the first arc of it. There was a different artist after that, but he's a really gritty artist and whatever. I just liked him a lot. It inspired me to do some things. But at the end of the story, basically everything worked out. Task Force X completed the mission completely, and it was all happy hunky-dory, whatever you want to call it. So that's basically the story that I wanted to mention about Wonder Woman. and the whole subject on that whole little controversy that's bringing into the movie probably and everything too. We're not going to see that in the movie, but it'll be on people's minds every once in a while. And it was a brave thing for them to do, even back then, especially in the 90s. So until next time, I hope you guys have a great day. Like I said, check out my comic book Visions of the New at visionsofthenew.com. Also, if you want to see any more videos, just scroll down. You can see all the rest of the videos that I posted online thus far. And if you want to subscribe, that'll be great, because it can keep you updated when I do post new videos and new things on the page. And feel free to leave any comments or any suggestions or anything like that. And I read them, and hopefully I can get to them. Thank you very much for watching, and